What's up, guys? This is Walter doing podcast movie reviews. I'm Mickey GemInEye. This is Lords of Salem movie review, directed by Rob Zombie. So, Lords of Salem is a film and it is a song by Rob Zombie, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what this movie is about. I'm going to tell you some things that I noticed. I'm going to have some of my opinions in here, as it's a movie review, so it's purposefully opinionated. And so adding in spoiler alert is probably something I won't do. I just don't want to, so I'm not going to. But let's talk about this film. Yeah. So here we go. This fucking movie is basically where it has Sherry Moon Zombie on the cover. She's wearing a t-shirt of like a prisoner t-shirt that she's wearing in the last scene of the movie, and she's got her job, so she's the main character of the movie. She's got her job at as a radio show host at a radio place, a radio channel on the radio, and her their music station, their radio station gets an album from some dungeon synth black metal doomy sounding song that possesses people. So it really just, I don't know what it is for, what that whole theme is for in the whole movie, but I think this is one of his only good ones. So this would be probably where I just think the whole thing is just set in there like as a gateway or a segue into anybody knowing what's going on with her, because she gets kidnapped by a bunch of witches and nobody would have known, especially because her landlord was one of the witches. So if it wasn't for that album, I guess that's where I would piece things together after much work. After a great amount of thinking and a lot of work, I finally pieced together that from the surface of things, you wouldn't know until you start piecing it together that the album that came in that had everybody questioning why it made them possessed, because of its droney, trance-inducing sounds and frequencies, that it just makes you think the whole time, like, what the fuck is this? What is the point of this? Because they get possessed by the devil or something like that, and then it's not clear what happens to them after that. I think the one guy dies, the one guy kills himself. So the one guy gets depressed, he kills himself, and then when the police are investigating it and all this stuff, and a journalist actually comes across some information that he wants to give to Sherry Moon, the main character. So he goes to Sherry Moon, gives her the freaking rundown, and she's bewitched by the witches, so she can't escape, and they kill him. So the witches kill him. And in this version of the movie, I found that is missing the scene where you can see his head completely flattened by a baseball bat. That the witch completely drives a baseball bat into his head until it is non-existent. His head does not exist at all in the extended cut, unrated cut version of this movie. So I've said this about music in advising against getting any non-parental advisory edited in Walmart versions of albums, and I'll say the same against any of these versions of movies, that if it's unable to find the version of the song or the movie that has the uncut versions, then you can say something. Make sure you say something, as it's important for the director and the artist that put those things in there, that you notice when you notice, if you see something, say something. Like if you notice that this is missing from the actual movie, as I did, and I said to myself out loud when I was watching, I said, isn't this guy's head completely missing from her driving a baseball bat into it? and then it helps to appreciate the art here, to appreciate the work of Rob Zombie. As I'll say it again, I think this is one of his only good ones. The reason that I think it's one of his only good ones is because of its consistency in the absolute dark and depressing nature of this film. There are no comedy elements in here, as Rob Zombie usually adds in some kind of comedy stuff in here. Even though it's dark and graphic comedy, there's no comedy in here. This is just a full-blown Sherry Moon and the guys at the station get an album that make them kill themselves, and then she gets bewitched and kidnapped by some witches, and the guy that wants to warn her gets killed when he was just, when he was just leaving. He was just leaving, and then they killed him. And then the whole thing just ends with him being, or it ends with her being a prophetic kind of host of demons, where she is undergoing some demonic rituals that make her completely and totally possessed by a bunch of demons, and she can fulfill some sort of witchy prophecy or something like that. So it's very dark, very depressing, very occult. But there's really ultimately really not that much gore, because when she's getting bewitched, then the main thing is that she just gets depressed. She just stays really depressed when she's bewitched by these witches. And then everybody keeps trying to save her. Her boyfriend gets killed as well, I think, on the trying to come back and save her, because the boyfriend leaves, and then he tries to come back and save her. The witches kill him too. They kill everybody. They make her into a host. She's like a queen of demons kind of thing. And then the movie ends. That's the end of the movie. So it's just another brilliant work from Rob Zombie. And so that is the gist and the rundown. Now let me get to my opinions about it real quick, as I have a favor. I favor this one over, at least right now, I favor this one over his other ones. And there's something about those opinions that I have about a director like Rob Zombie and a musician, artist like Rob Zombie, that has to be said. So I'm going to get down to that. Painting the portrait of illusory despair is what I said on that song, and that is exactly what this film is about. The film that I'm doing a movie review on right now. God, I had to actually fucking work through some technical difficulties on this one again. It's so technical. This movie review is kind of technical difficulty-y. So anyway, my opinions here on this director. I'm gonna just come out and say it. All right, I'm thinking lately that Rob Zombie is his directing is subpar. And I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why I'm thinking that. But I was like, when that hit me, it made a serious impact. I'm like almost offended by this. Because it's like, all right, maybe I'm not appreciating House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil Rejects, and Three from Hell. As that's a trilogy. That's a trilogy that goes together. Maybe what I need to do is freaking watch them all together for one. And the streaming services certainly aren't helping. The streaming services are literally like a virtual simulation of watching the movie. Where if I bought it on Blu-ray or something like that, then that would be obviously a better experience. But those Blu-ray discs are just like out. It's out. So I'm trying to get into the appreciating this director here a lot more than I have been. As I said this, I just came out and saying that he's directing subpar. But those opinions need to be reinforced with something. I need to reinforce that with something as I close up this episode here on that. And I think it's just. I think that must have been just some kind of bullshit that got into my head one day, honestly. I think one day some bullshit just got into my head, and I was thinking some bullshit like that. That's some just straight up bullshit. Because House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell is, maybe I like it too much. Maybe I like Rob Zombie's directing so much that I got a little upset about it and then thought that to myself or something. I don't know. But right now, I'm just seeming like I'm just lacking saying anything about it substantial, and I need to say something substantial about it right now. So, what it is that I would have to say about Rob Zombie's directing is that he's obviously very detailed with the style. I think it just has something to do with him being an American director. I think that's what it is. I'm lately on this kick where I'm just like, let me check out other countries and all this other stuff. So let me see what other people have to say in a forum, right? I can see what other people have to say in a video or something like that, but seeing what they have to say in a forum and in an actual engaging conversation, then that would be more helpful to me, where I can see what other people have to say about it and then go back and forth on something. But right now, as it stands, I think that Rob Zombie is actually a brilliant director. This is being one of his only good ones that I like, and it's due to the fact that it's got little to no comedy in it, and it's consistent with its dark and depressing themes, and adding in some more stuff here. Those other films that have the comedic elements in there that are added in, a lot of that also is extremely gory and extremely sick, because what the details are for why he's a brilliant director is that he literally takes you onto the ways of feeling extremely uncomfortable in a situation, like when the chicks are being raped and killed in Devil's Rejects, and it's at totally unexpected, spontaneous times. So if you had to really get down to directors that can provide that kind of spontaneity, that's ultimately what you would find to be pretty hard to match. That's pretty hard to find. Anyway, guys, bouncing out. You know what to do if you like this video.